Welcome back, everyone, to Digital Dialogue. So happy to have you join us. As a gentle reminder, this video is best watched on your mobile phone vertically so that you can be part of this conversation. And that is genuinely what this is about. It is about us having a conversation together given the current circumstances. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more below, where Susie and I both introduce ourselves, talk about this concept, please do check out our first video. Otherwise, want to go ahead, jump right into it. Susie, I know we landed on this topic a couple of days ago. Can you remind me why we landed on this topic?
Hi, Jean-Michel, and hi, everyone else. Yeah, absolutely. So we just thought, while we were sort of thinking about what digital dialogue was about and discussing and making preparations, discussing what we do on a daily life and how we tackle this whole situation is really valuable. And so we thought that it was important to share this with all of you. It's also quite an easy conversation to have. I feel like everyone can share and help out and support each other. So, yeah, the topic is, what do we do in quarantine?
That's right. From my end, I thought, now that you've reminded me, thank you. On my end, I thought this was important because it also ties to a reflection I actually had in a conversation I was having with a friend of mine. He's a coach. And in a lot of his coaching calls, people are itching to get back to normality, like to the way life used to be. And in that conversation, we both came to a mutual realization that the normal to which we are accustomed no longer exists. That has passed away, unfortunately. And we are living in a changing environment. The paradigm is changing, and we are moving towards a new normal. And in that spirit, this time that we spend at home is crucial because it will determine how we come out on the other side and whether or not we're going to be prepared for what awaits us at the end of that road.
Absolutely. Just to add quickly, in the last point, I understand that it's really annoying to not have the opportunity to go out. I'm very, very annoyed. But to be honest, other than not having that opportunity, I've been having a really productive time and I've been really happy with myself over this quarantine. And hopefully, Jean-Michel, who I believe also feels the same way, and I can share this kind of mood with all of you and pass some positivity on if you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to provide some structure to this conversation, if I may, we're going to call this 4 aspects. And we're going to touch on 4 different components of your life, or our lives rather. And Susie and I just want to talk about how we're approaching these 4 aspects from our particular perspective. And these 4 aspects, real fast, are professional. How are we going to approach our professional lives? How are we going to approach our personal lives? How are we approaching our physical well-being? And how we are approaching our mental well-being? Little caveat, if in terms of professional, that can be both. If you're pursuing your education, your degree, you're currently in that process, you can just substitute that term for professional. If you are already in a career, then we know how to kick these things off.
Yes,
Now,
essentially it's the main occupation of whatever it is you're doing.
yeah, exactly. Now, Susie, I'm curious. We talked a little bit about in the first video, freelancing. How are you navigating this space right now in your life?
So, of course, it's a little difficult since, like I mentioned in the previous video, my work needs to be done in person. However, there are ways for freelancers to deal with the situation in many, many different ways. Like I said, it's not going to be as easy and there's not going to be as much work out there. However, for me personally, in my professional aspect, sorry about the confusion, but this was a chance for me to start my long-awaited projects. Because I'm a freelancer in a really creative industry, I constantly have ideas about what I want to do on my own. And this quarantine has actually given me a chance to not only start them, but be incredibly productive with launching these projects and learning so many more skills and sub-skills to do with those projects. For example, editing, animation, etc., etc. And a small tip, there are actually forums online where you can find short editing and etc. freelance jobs that are going to pay you a small amount of cash. So if you ever have a free time and you want to earn, £100 or something, look for those. Jean-Michel, what about you? Because for you, the situation is a little bit different. You are in employment. So could you speak to me a little bit about your professional situation?
Yeah, absolutely. We touched on this on the first video. I feel like I come into this from a different perspective, and I think that's great for this conversation. So being employed and working remotely and doing knowledge work that allows me to work remotely, my focus is somewhat different because my day-to-day work, yes, has been impacted by the absence of physical contact and those meetings that engender trust and relationship building, but the nature of the work I can still execute on, I can still deliver. So, having said that, given that I have a much greater control of my environment, my focus right now is on professional skill development because I have eliminated the ramp up time and ramp down time that naturally comes with having to get ready for work, going to work, preparing for work, the niceties of saying hello, good morning, which I love, don't get me wrong, but they do eat time. So what I'm focused on doing right now is taking those chunks of time, which amount to quite a lot, at minimum 2 hours, and translating that into focusing on a particular skill development. So for me, that is project management. And my goal is that at the end of this self isolation, which in my opinion, going to be at minimum 12 weeks. In 12 weeks, I can do a project management certificate so that when I walk through the doors of my office, when I have conversations with my peers, they can say, so how was it? What did you do? What are you going to do now? It's like, I'm ready to hit the ground running because I've already been doing. You know what I'm saying, Susie?
Yeah. Of course, of course. It sounds really, really great. Um, and just to quickly move on to the personal aspect, Jean-Michel, what is it? I'm really curious. Has been affecting. How did you tackle the personal aspect of your life in the times of quarantine?
Like I mentioned last time, I think the biggest impact by far is life admin. I have never been so productive in taking care of all the administration that goes into running the household, running my life, being on top of my finances, planning for the future. That is just firing on all cylinders. Tied to that, it's also given me the opportunity to do some passion projects like digital dialogue, which is amazing. And I am so thankful that it ties to your professional development goals because then that's just a win win. Um, it's definitely put me in a place where I have a bias for execution because of the constraint of the circumstances. I have been embodying the spirit of just getting it out the door, which sometimes is more difficult when there's a lot of noise in the environment, which in this case, in terms of home living, there's not so much noise. How about you? How has the personal aspect played out for you?
I mean, just to relate to the last phrase that you said, that, you know, there's so much noise that we kind of forget and distance ourselves from achieving these kinds of goals. I can completely relate to that. And my personal life kind of progress will sound a bit cliche, but I've just got to do things that I felt like I never got around to doing. For example, I have started reading a lot, which to my shame, you know, I work in a creative industry and I haven't done that much reading. I probably should do more, and I've been really, really enjoying just sitting down with a book and like reading 100 pages at a time. I'm feeling inspired on a whole new level, and there are other aspects that I've taken up. So apart from the career,
Interrupt you real quick. What book is on your nightstand?
so right now it's 1984.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's salient. I like that.
I've actually been I've been going between different books, and then another one is I'm actually reading it in Russian, even though I probably should read it in English. It's the Brief History of Music, um, but and yeah, and that's just kind of, you know, it's almost like a diary about that analyzes the history of music, which is really, really interesting as well. Speaking of music, I've taken up my guitar again, which is great, and I've missed it, and I've got time to do it now. So yeah. Um,
So what we're hearing is there's going to be a sample video where you basically
no. So yeah, essentially it
can't
just
wait digital dialogue concert. Woo!
yeah, Jean-Michel is gonna be soloing while I play my guitar.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, but yeah, no. And honestly, I'm really enjoying just catching up on these personal goals. It makes me feel really accomplished, and yeah, no, it's amazing, really. Which kind of also brings me to my next personal goal, which is kind of bigger in scale, which is getting back into shape. Woo! Thank you, Jean-Michel, for inspiring me. Basically, we've done a workout just before London went in lockdown, and Jean-Michel gave me this, you know, really, really big amount of inspiration to, you know, go ahead and train every day. Guys, I started running. I I don't run. I started running, and yeah, no, I just really, really enjoy doing the a daily dance workout challenge at home, and then maybe going for a run. That doesn't happen every day in the biggest amount, but at least the challenge does. And yeah, I've been loving it. But speaking to the real physical preparation expert between the two of us, Jean-Michel, speak to me a bit about the physical well-being approach of yours?
I think it's tied, honestly, it's tied to the professional and personal perspective that I'm taking, in that things are changing, old normal, gone, moving towards a new normal. And I don't have time for excuses, Susie. So I have been daily exercises or on daily exercises. Actually following a program right now. Talk a little bit more about it at the end of the video. But essentially every day around noon, my flatmate and I get together, crank out some workouts, do some ab work. And I tell you, you may think you need a gym, but you do not need a gym. If you need weights,
Nah, you don't need a gym.
you do not. If you need weights, water bottle. You don't have water bottles, it's okay. You have a bag, put stuff in the bag. Put clothes in the bag. Now you have weights. There are so many creative ways. Anyways, I've been getting at it because I want to be ready for whatever summer is left when this is over. I want to be in shape for that. And then also on the...
Has been proven over this quarantine is that you don't need a gym to be in good shape.
Yeah, and there's no reason to stop. You can come out of this better than you went into it. And that's true for all these aspects.
100%, yeah.
And the last thing I've been doing is taking cold showers. Now, every time I say this, people are like, cold showers, and they make a face like I've just killed a baby. I actually was inspired to do cold showers because there's a video by Matt Davella. If you aren't familiar with him, we'll link him below. He makes amazing videos on YouTube. But it just said 30 days of cold showers. And when I saw the end of that video, I thought to myself, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. And I've been doing it ever since. I think I'm actually looking behind me to see if I can find my calendar. I think I'm 2 weeks away from 60 days of cold showers. And 60, yeah, 60.
Amazing.
Now, tied to that, I think the cold shower is a nice segue to the last aspect, which is mental well-being. And part of the reason I started taking cold showers is because you have two options in this world. You can either try to change the world, or you can try to change your mind. And so taking that perspective is what allows me to take a cold shower without kind of feeling like I'm falling apart every time I walk into the bathroom. And then in terms of mental well-being, I've been meditating. There's an excellent program by Sam Harris called Waking Up. We'll also link it in the description below. Highly recommend it. The introductory course lasts over 50 days, and it's not about not thinking. It's not about trying to eliminate, be completely focused and eliminate thought. It's about understanding your consciousness, and I'll just leave it at that. I've also done some breathing exercises. Wim Hof is quite famous and popular right now. I landed upon his breathing exercise video, again linked below, added that to my routine in the morning, meditation, then breathing exercise, and I love it. If anything, it's a challenge to see for how long I can hold my breath. But I've been talking for a minute now. Susie, talk to me about you. How are you handling the mental well-being?
So really, there's not that much for me to add because doing well in the previous three aspects helped me reach a really, really good place mentally. Not just that, but taking a step back from the previous normal that doesn't exist, in the words of Jean-Michel, anymore. It kind of made me appreciate the privileges we have on the daily life that we didn't even notice were there. So, and you could, take that road and end up in a sad place in a way. But for me, honestly, that was kind of a road to realizing what matters the most in life and to not take it for granted, and really just that daily accomplishment and kind of improving my life bit by bit on the, on those small level in my daily habits, that has put me in a really, really good mental place. Although I am doing small bits and bobs like drinking lemon water and introducing a few other small healthy habits in my life that are really helping me just become happier and happier every day, despite the pandemic that we're in.
And that's what matters, is taking small steps. It's the small steps. It's not the end goal. It's the baby steps. It's there was a what is it? Simon Sinek. I think I mispronounced the name. He talks about brushing your teeth. He asked the question, what happens when you brush your teeth for 2 minutes? Nothing. But if you brush your teeth for a year, or you don't brush your teeth for 2 minutes every day for a year, you see something. And I love how you're embodying that. It's the small steps that result in big changes.
It's only the baby steps. That's true. Yeah. Anyway, I think that wraps it up, Jean-Michel.
Yeah, so, wow, that went by so quick. Thank you all for joining us for this digital dialogue. Just a quick shout out Susie and I both talked about physical exercise. A good friend of mine runs a fitness program called Be Fit and Sensual. It's for dancers by dancers, but the great thing about it is that if you're not a dancer, they currently have a challenge called Flatten the Curve Challenge. It's only 99 cents, euros, but I'm going to say cents. It's a 30-day program, been following it. It's amazing. You get the support of an incredible community of over 500 people who are doing this. Check out the link in the description below. Susie, throwing it over to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to back it up. I've been doing that challenge and I find it amazing. It kills me and I really see the progress on the daily. I've already, like progressed. I've only been doing it for over a week and I feel the difference. It's incredible. And yes, it is 99 cents. We're not selling it here. It's literally that amazing. Like, honestly. And yeah, honestly, that wraps it out for me, to be honest. Thank you for watching. And I'm happy to, carry on this amazing project that is Digital Dialogue. And yeah, stay healthy and at home. I'm going to pass it over to Jean-Michel.
Yeah, mirroring what Susie said, we really appreciate you. Thank you for watching our channel. Thank you for being part of this video called this Digital Dialogue. I want to remind you, this is a conversation, so please leave your comments below. Whether it's about the topics that we covered, the length, the setup, let us know. You are as much a part of this as we are in recording it initially. We'll chat soon. Anyway, take care, stay safe, stay healthy, stay at home. Ciao.